What's up YouTube? Today I want to show you a really cool trick for ripping kick drums from tracks using a really cool tool called Scilab by FX23. So sadly this is a Windows only application, although that being said is you can use a similar technique and kind of do these things manually using Kick 2, which I may discuss a little bit later on in the video. Anyway, I want to show you this really cool trick in Scilab by FX23. Let's dive in and have a look. So for those who don't know what this plugin is, it's kind of like an everything-in-one kick and bass sidetrance generator. There's a bunch of really neat patches in here for getting started really quickly, and you can kind of sequence, modulate, and kind of build everything from the ground up in terms of your kick and bass for sidetrance tracks. But there's a particularly special feature in this plugin that I want to talk about, and that's being able to load up a reference kick, and then what it does is it kind of like draws the curves and recreates those kicks, from scratch. And then it allows you to change them, alter them, and even kind of adjust them. Say for example, you want to tune it to something different, you can do that. And I think this is really cool for, say for example, just grabbing a reference from a track, being able to rebuild it, clean it up a little bit, and then, you've got your own kick drum that you can pitch to whatever BPM, a key of the track, or whatever you need. First and foremost, I find the interface of this plugin a little bit confusing. So for those who also do feel that, you're not alone, don't worry. Here on the left hand side, we have this ref icon, and this allows you to actually load up a reference file. So this is going to kind of prompt me to find the location on my hard drive, where I've actually got a sample that I've bounced from Asterix Deep Jungle Walk. I actually just recorded it straight from the YouTube video, and we're going to see how nicely this can recreate something that's just ripped from a track on YouTube. So you can see here it's loaded up the reference file and it's actually drawn the curve for us, but now it hasn't actually synthesized it. So what you can do is you can actually press this button. So you've got the menu that drops down on the right hand side, and then the button itself enables you to be able to hear the reference. So I think originally they added this feature to be able to do a similar thing like I'm going to show you in Kick 2, where you can kind of follow the curves. But I think this is actually a new feature in the plugin that they've added here, and that basically allows you to generate guides and then convert guides to Bezier curve. And what that does is that basically creates, check this out. So go generate guides, and what this does is it creates the kind of guide. So if we followed this pitch, it would be similar. It would create from the sound that we have in the init patch, it would then generate the same sort of sound as close as possible to the reference, of course. So here, let's just say convert guides. So we might have to change these depending on what we think. I believe that this is a very transient kick, so we might have to do a very high. So you see how it's drawn the pitch slope with this Bezier curve. So here there's a little bit of distortion in that reference. I don't know if you heard that, but that's because there's a little bit of sample that I kind of tried to remove there with some noise removing stuff anyway. And it's kind of redrawn the amplitude. So once we've kind of like dialed in the exact amount of pitch curve that we need and stuff, we can then go in here and just kind of like draw this so that it's a bit more smoother. And that should result in a really nice kind of kick drum that's created on a reference from this Asterix. Once we've got our reference in there and we've got the pitch curve and amp curve kind of mapped out there, once we've got it mapped out, then we can actually use these functions here to smooth those curves. But first I want to jump into the actual oscillator settings, and that is over here, parameters along the top. And so you'll notice that this is a little bit triangular. We want to shift this shape all the way over to the left hand side so that it's a sine wave. It looks like the phase retrigger is random is off. And then here on the left, we want to click pitch settings, and we want to select the envelope on and click A over here. So it looks like that enables the pitch envelope. And then we want to click amp settings over here, and then click use amp CV on. And what it's going to do is it's not going to use this little envelope that you draw in. It's going to allow this curve to control the kick. And already it's sounding almost like the reference. Wow, that is awesome. I love that. Let's try a different kick as a reference file. I might have to just render this one out real quick. This is from Aja, Wibblefish. I really like the kick on this one. Let's change the reference here. Clear, load. So can you see these spikes here in the pitch and in the amplitude? That's obviously where the bass note is played, because I obviously ripped it from a YouTube track. I want to see if we can kind of use this to approximate that and then just remove these spikes and let it smooth it out and see if that's going to work to recreate this exact kick, but without that bass sound. So you can also potentially do this in Kick 2, like I said. It's a little bit more finicky. So just take into account, like the sample that I actually rendered out was a little bit lower in volume than I usually go for. So I was kind of just going by eye here, and I didn't quite get it exact. But that being said, it's still a nice way of being able to know like how to craft your kick drums. Just being able to like load up the kind of reference kick and then follow the curves. So how did we go about doing this? And then over here, what we want to do is we actually want to turn off sub view for now, and then we can actually turn on click view. This actually allows us to visualize the click. I'm just going to turn off all of these for now. I don't think there's anything loaded in these ones anyway. And on this click channel, I want to load up the reference kick using this load function over here. Let's go with the Wibblefish. And then here, what we can do is we can zoom this in so that we've got just the amount of space that we need to work with. And then here we can actually re-enable the sub view and then use this to kind of draw in. This should actually be like this, I guess, so that we get the exact, because there's like a fade on that kick which we don't actually want. Do you see what I'm saying? We must turn the envelope off so we get the full view like that. And then here we can actually go and kind of follow this curve, but just bear in mind that the visuals of Kick 2 don't quite align with the audio. And what I mean is, just look, if you put this, let's just put like a dip over here. Do you see where it is? It's over there. But that's because they designed it that way to give you more control over the actual transient. So just keep that in mind when you're shaping these things, is that like it's not linear. The kind of time response here is not linear. So you must just look at the actual waveform that you're crafting and not the kind of visuals, if that makes sense. I guess it's around here, which is the lowest extent of the curve, and then kind of curves in and out from there. I think something like this. So let's go into the pitch and let's just adjust this. So you see that that's too much. We don't want to go all the way up to the top. And we must also make sure to turn this volume down, otherwise we hear that reference kick as well. So anyway, like I said, this method is a little bit more finicky and harder to get the exact kind of sound effect that you want. However, Scilab is not available for Mac, so that's the downside. Awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, if you like this video, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. See you guys next time. Cheers.